Spurs, eh? Even when they have the best Premier League season, they still can't win the title. But never mind, next season they're going to try and go one better, and we're going to have a look at some of the players who might be playing for them next season. There's a few familiar faces and some new ones too, so let's take a look. Lloris is key to that superb defence, which, Bayern Munich aside, who played 4 games less, actually had the best defence in Europe's top 5 leagues. In recent seasons, Lloris has cemented himself as one of Europe's best goalkeepers. With a contract that will keep him at Spurs until 2022, fans will be confident they've got a consistent shot stopper between the sticks. Any approach from another club will require big bucks, but to get a replacement as good as Lloris at his best will be next to impossible. We don't see any changes here for Spurs in the new season. Right back is where we see our first change in the Spurs lineup next season. We've become used to seeing Kyle Walker excel here with his pace and power a feature, but his role at Spurs has been in question since his falling out with Mauricio Pochettino towards the end of last season. Here's how this has gone down. Pochettino believes Walker has a problem with his fitness. Walker believes Pochettino is wrong. The winner out of this one? Probably Man City, who look set to sign Walker as a result, albeit for a considerable sum. So who'll take his place? Kieran Trippier finished the 2016-17 campaign as first choice right back, so perhaps the former Burnley man is now ripe for replacing Walker. But while we see Trippier as a solid choice, we ultimately see a new face in a Spurs shirt next season. This new face continues in the time-honoured tradition of trading Southampton for Spurs, following in the footsteps of Gareth Bale, Toby Alderweireld and Victor Wanyama. In case you haven't guessed it already, we're talking about Cedric Suarez. The Portugal international looms as a perfect replacement for Walker. With more than 50 appearances in the Premier League, he knows the competition well. His all-action approach, solid in defence but also with a love for getting forward, will also suit Spurs. He's coming off a bright Confederations Cup campaign for the European champions and should be more than affordable with what Spurs are set to get for Walker. At left back it is far more straightforward. Danny Rose will actually miss the start of the season through injury, just as he missed the end of the last campaign, but he should return to Spurs' starting 11 when fit, even though Ben Davies is a worthy replacement in the meantime. Rose may well end up missing Walker, but his ability to get up and down the left flank will continue to be a weapon for Spurs, even without his partner in crime. Now to the centre of defence, where Spurs have supposedly been looking to strengthen this season. They still have Kevin Wimmer, but he seems no more than a bit player at the club. This might explain the link to Dortmund defensive utility man Matthias Ginter, while Eric Dyer can of course fill in here also. But either way, we don't see a break-up in the middle of defence unless something drastic happens. The partnership of Jan Vertonghen and Toby Alderweireld ensured Spurs had the stingiest defence in the Premier League campaign, so why mess with a record like that? The Belgian duo could not be more suited to the demands of the league, strong in defence and supremely confident with the ball at their respective feet. Expect more of the same this season. Okay, so that's the back line sorted, so let's move on to the midfield where you might see some familiar faces. Now, let's turn our attention to the centre of the park, where Pochettino is likely to play 2 deep-lying midfielders. Moussa Sissoko's nightmare debut campaign means he's not considered here, and the aforementioned Dyer has impressed here, but despite his qualities, we're going to, perhaps controversially, leave him on the bench. Why? Because we can't quite fit him in ahead of 2 men who combine skill and steel to superb effect. The first is Victor Wanyama, the former Southampton player who Tottenham finally landed before last season after a lengthy and somewhat spiteful courtship. Only Danny Rose completed more tackles per game than Wanyama last season, although he also averaged the most fouls per game of any Spurs player and also picked up 10 yellow cards. But Wanyama's aggression is just what Pochettino likes in Spurs' engine room, and 4 goals last season shows he's no panel beater. His approach combines well with the man next to him in this 11, a man Pochettino has labelled one of the 5 geniuses he has worked with over his career, the others being Ivan De La Peña, JJ Okocha, Ronaldinho and Diego Maradona. That is some heady praise indeed for the next player in this 11, Moussa Dembele. The third member of the Belgian Amigos is certainly a vital cog to his Spurs team, adding a touch of class to Wanyama's all-action approach. Dembele can dig out a ball when it is in dispute, but it's when Spurs reload after winning it back that you can see his true qualities as a playmaker. Now 29 and the 3rd oldest member of the Spurs squad, Dembele is indeed a player every coach would love to count on, as Pochettino has made clear. So Wanyama and Dembele, that's the defensive midfield sorted. Pretty strong, hey? So let's move on to the attacking midfield where there's going to be one new face, we think. Let's start on the right of the trio, and there is little doubt the position belongs to Christian Eriksen. The Great Dane, who is remarkably still only 25, is commonly the beating heart of Tottenham's attacking midfield line. He contributed 35 goals last season for Spurs, 12 goals and 23 assists. Those stats helped him earn the club's Player of the Year award, a fair feat ahead of some big names. Contracted at Tottenham for another 3 seasons and currently valued at 34 million, it's unlikely Eriksen will be leaving the club anytime soon, and his link up with the likes of Dele Alli and Harry Kane has turned Spurs into one of the deadliest attacking teams in England. If the club can keep all 3, they've more than a good enough chance to lift the Premier League title in the next couple of years. On that note, let's look at our central attacking midfielder now, and it is that man Ali. At a time when Spurs have a galaxy of stars, are there any bigger than Ali? It's something worthy of plenty of debate, but there is little doubt of his quality. The 21-year-old is almost a perfect modern-day footballer, blessed with talent and charisma on and off the pitch. It's no wonder he's adored at Spurs. It's sometimes easy to forget how far the kid has come as a £5.5 million signing from MK Dons in 2015. Indeed, he still has more League One appearances than Premier League ones, although we don't think that stat will stay intact long. He already has more top-flight goals, however, helped by his 18 last league campaign. There are consistent reports linking him to Premier League rivals, but there'd be a bloody riot if Ali was to end up somewhere like Chelsea. So expect him to be in a Spurs shirt for some time and to start in his side's best 11 come the new season. Spurs have had trouble finding the final piece to their attacking puzzle, with Eric Lamela, George Kevin Nkudu and Clinton Ng all failing to nail their auditions to varying degrees. Son Heung-min was a standout here last season, scoring 14 Premier League goals and contributing 9 assists. In his last 10 league games, he found the net 7 times alone. But do the stats tell the whole story? Consistency could be a problem for Son, so we're going to dream a little and put Frenchman Thomas Lemar here instead. The left-sided attacker was a key part of Monaco's fantastic 2016-17 campaign, scoring 14 goals and contributing 17 assists in all competitions. Lightning quick and with the ability to play wide as a number 10 and as an inverted winger, Lemar has interested Spurs' London rivals Arsenal, but we're happy to entertain the prospect of him in a Tottenham shirt. He won't come cheap, of course, and with Spurs having spent over £70 million on the other candidates here, then they should consider every penny they spend on a new man. But Lemar looks the goods, so perhaps Daniel Levy can find a bit more room in the budget still. Okay, so that's the midfield, and let's move on to the final position, the striker. I think we all know who this is going to be, don't we? That's right, it's Vincent Janssen. Just kidding. Even if Vincent Janssen had had a better debut season at Spurs, he would have struggled to dislodge Harry Kane from the top of this Spurs 11. After Kane's 25-goal 2015-16 season, many were interested to see if he could maintain his form last campaign. He didn't maintain it at all, he bettered it, with 29 goals in 30 league appearances, a stat that reads like something out of Football Manager. Kane should be even better rested this time around with no major tournament to interrupt his summer. So could he fare even better in 2017-18? We'll have to wait and see, but if he does, prepare to see Spurs in the nether regions of the table once again, and perhaps even one better. So that's how we think Spurs are going to line up at Wembley next season. What do you think? Did we get that right? Let us know in the comments below, and of course, as always, don't forget to subscribe.